Welcome back, everyone. The next series boss battle on Global should be Final Fantasy III against the Cloud of Darkness. So I'm going to be showing a preview of the fight using Cloud of Darkness, the unit, which comes with the event as well. So this boss is only a tiny bit more challenging than Chaos series boss battle, so it's pretty easy. But I'm going to show you the fight anyway. We're going to be using Bart as our passive provoker with evasion. And I'm choosing him because he can entrust and he can do 120% wind and peril on demand. We're going to use Folka for healing and restoring mana. We're going to use Charlotte as our magical cover. Now you want your cover tank to have some dark resist. You want as much as 170 dark resist if you can get it. You don't need that much. We're going to be doing it with just 70%. And we're not even going to use a buff. It's not really going to matter. We're going to use LFM as our breaker. Now, Global doesn't have her yet, but you can use any breaker you want. Doesn't really matter. And we're going to use Cloud of Darkness, the mage. Now, she's actually really weak as a mage on the Japanese server. Her stats are her modifiers are very, very low for a mage. But she might get buffed in Global, and it is her series boss battle. So I figured why not use her anyway. And we're going to use Heiru's Cloud of Darkness as well. Looking pretty good. So let's get into it. Oh, one more thing I should mention is we're using Fenrir. There's only going to be one physical attack in the entire fight, or one AoE physical attack, and we're just going to use Fenrir to dodge that. It happens on the 50% threshold. Alright, so to start off, we're going to use Bart to entrust to Charlotte so she can limit burst on turn 1. We're going to break defense, or we're going to break attack and magic with LFM. Folka will just give us some immunity buffs. And we'll use Cloud of Darkness to unlock Quadcast, and we're going to chain Wind, because we're going to let Bart take care of our Wind chaining for us, or our Wind and Peril for us. So the damage that Cloud of Darkness does, the boss Cloud of Darkness, is all magical. She does single target physical hits, but those can be just provoked, and all the rest of the damage is magic, which we're going to be covering with Charlotte. And every few turns she'll buff, and I'll show that when we get there. Unfortunately, because it is magical damage, Charlotte will be countering quite a bit. So let's go ahead and Imperil Wind with Bart. And we'll use Charlotte to give herself some magical mitigation. We'll Quadcast Wind with Cloud of Darkness. I know it's a little bit confusing using Cloud of Darkness against Cloud of Darkness, but I figured it'd be kind of amusing. And we'll do a magic buff with LFM just for the sake of it. Alright, so there's not any thresholds until 50%. So this will be a pretty basic fight until then. And we'll just restore some mana with Folka. So every third turn, Cloud of Darkness is going to buff herself with Divine Veil. It gives her a resist all buff, so you kind of want to dispel that if you can. Counterattacks. They're always so exciting. Oh, maybe she buffs every fourth turn. Did I get this wrong? Oh, okay. So we're just going to do this again. We'll just chain this. We'll wait for this to finish. I don't want to break the chain. And we'll keep DPSing. The unit Cloud of Darkness has a pretty cool animation, so I really hope they make her better in Global so she's like worth pulling for. Because she looks really cool. And all her spell animations are really neat. Like the big laser beam is just really cool looking. Alright, there's the buff I was talking about. Divine Veil. So we're going to dispel that. Alright, so here's the buff she put on herself. She also put Human Killer on herself. So she'll do more damage if you don't dispel that. It's not required to dispel, you can ignore it. It's only a 20% killer buff, and as you see, her damage is super low anyway. But, you may as well dispel it. So we're going to dispel it with Folka. Folka's on Carbuncle for Dispel. We'll put up Mitigation. We'll reapply that Imperil. We'll reapply those attack and magic breaks. And we'll go ahead and chain for more damage. So the nice thing about using Barge as our Imperil is we can kind of ignore, what's it called? We can ignore the Imperil move from Cloud of Darkness, from our Cloud of Darkness, and so I'll allow Barge to handle that for us. So we're going to push the threshold next turn at 50%, like I mentioned. So we're going to use Fenrir to AoE dodge that that damage. Alright, let's go ahead and use Fenrir. Let's push that threshold. Alright, we're going to use Elephant to restore some mana. We'll do this. And we'll just entrust over to Charlotte so she's good to go for later. Alright, so this is going to be an AoE physical attack, and then the boss is going to do a buff on herself. Here's the physical attack. We've got Fenrir, it dodged it completely, and that was the threshold. And she buffed her magic, so you want to get rid of that. So we're going to use, let's see here. We'll just use Charlotte. Are we allowed these items? We are. We'll just dispel with Charlotte. We'll re-imperil with Bartz. We'll re-break with Elephum. Because I want Folka to refresh the immunity buffs. I actually forgot about refreshing them earlier. It's fine. And we lost our quad cast with Cloud of Darkness, so we'll put that back up next turn. We'll just do regular chaining. And then the fight technically gets a little bit harder now, but not really. It's mostly the same until 20%. Forgot about that. There's the after turn threshold attack, that big laser beam. But as you see, this boss does really low damage, like it barely even hurt Charlotte. Alright, and she put up the immunity buffs again. So we'll dispel those with Folka. Let's see here. Folka will dispel and we'll heal. We'll put up mitigation. We'll reapply the Imperil. We'll reapply the attack and magic break. And we'll put up Quadcast again with our Cloud of Darkness. And that should last the rest of the fight. Alright, so 20% is going to be another threshold. But on that one, all she does is mitigate for a turn and buff herself. Alright, she didn't buff this turn, so we're good. Come on, Charlotte. So we'll put up magical mitigation. We'll do a magic buff, and we can turn Quadcast back on. We'll go with wind. Bartz will just imperil. Wait for that to finish. And let's go ahead and chain. Now technically Cloud of Darkness is weak to Holy Element, but I don't have a Holy Element chainer. So we push that threshold, which is fine. We'll go ahead and double teardrop with Folka just to refill everyone's mana. So and now the boss is just going to buff herself and end turn. So that's a magic buff. Again, you want to get rid of that. So we'll get rid of it with Folka. And we're going to re-raise on Charlotte. I seriously doubt Charlotte's going to die. But it's good to be safe. Because now, below 20%, the boss does do a little bit more damage. So we're going to re-imperil, we're going to re-break. And we'll just keep chaining. So now the boss is going to just use a whole bunch of magic attacks, more than usual. But other than that, it's still really basic. Also, the boss has permanent 50% mitigation for the rest of the fight. Yeah, as you can see, super weak. Not a problem. And the boss did buff her human killer. Because her damage is so low, we could totally ignore that human killer buff. But I mean, we've got Bart's, so Bart's can re-imperil for free, which is the whole reason we brought him. So let's just go ahead and dispel that human killer for the total safety, because we dispel it, and then Bart applies the imperil all over again. Elephant applies the break all over again. So dispelling costs us nothing. We'll reapply magic mitigation, and we'll just chain. And we probably won right here. Oh, we might not have. Nope, we didn't, because the boss has that permanent mitigation buff you can't get rid of. But that's all she does in this phase, just some really weak magic attacks. And she buffed her human killer again. Again, we could easily dispel that and reapply all the breaks and imperils for free, but we're going to win, so there's no point. And technically speaking, there's a mission to kill the limit first, so we'll do that. We'll have Bart's limit, and there's Bart's limit right there. Attacked her after she died. So we did all missions. 11 turns. We used Cloud of Darkness, the mage. Her damage is very low. She only changed like a 17 times modifier, which is like a year and a half out of date. She'll probably be buffed on global because she's just a real bad mage. But I figured I'd use her anyway to demonstrate the fight. Super easy. As you saw, there was never any risk whatsoever of dying the entire encounter. This one actually might be as easy or even easier than Chaos. In any case, it's a real easy fight. Just bring some chainers, bring a magic cover, bring a provoker, and you're good to go. Oh, and bring a Mirage for the 50% AoE physical attack. It does hit pretty hard, but you know, Fenrir, Mirage, anything you want, and you'll be totally fine. Alright, I'll see you guys next time.